2 Capcom games in a row, Mo? Used to be cool. Joke's on you, I was never cool. But yeah, for this month's video, we're talking about Devil May Cry 5, the most recent Devil May Cry game, my favorite Devil May Cry game, and the most Devil May Cry game. The game was originally released in 2019, roughly a month apart from the Resident Evil 2 remake, meaning that Capcom put out 2 Game of the Year contenders that year, the absolute lads. But back on track, Devil May Cry is a series of games that I really like, with the exception of Devil May Cry 2, god, that game was very good, that I've weirdly struggled to tell people who aren't my friends and family why. So I'm taking this as an opportunity to do just that. So strap in, get some pizza, it's party time. Lightning quick story setup is as such. Evil demon tree shows up in a city. Self-proclaimed demon lord named Eisen shows up. With a said evil tree, Nero gets his arm ripped off by a weird-looking homeless guy. Gets it replaced with a sweet-looking prosthetic by business associate Nico. Patrician lady show up to deal with evil tree and horde of demons. Mysterious goth named V shows up. Everything goes wrong! Demon slaying, over-the-top antics, and family ensues. Whew! That is probably the most story in a Devil May Cry game ever? Yet to try to tell this kind of story that it does and manages to pull it off is remarkable. It's not going to win any awards, but it's a fun romp at the end of the day, and really that's the most you can get out of a Devil May Cry story. And there are definitely some parts that I'm omitting for spoiler reasons, but that's primarily because there are certain twists in there that completely recontextualize a good chunk of the story. And trust me, you'll know them when you see them. The game follows the same 20 mission structure that we've seen in the other games, but with some twists. The main one among them is the 3 playable characters. Now, before you start to groan, it's handled way better than it was in Devil May Cry 4. For starters, you don't have to play the entire game in reverse. If you haven't played Devil May Cry 4 and think I'm taking the piss, I'm not. That's literally how missions 12 through 18 in 4 worked as Dante. You once again play as Dante and Nero, but you also get the aforementioned Goth Twin V. While they all get a sizable chunk of playtime, this is ultimately Nero's show as he gets the largest percentage of playtime. Another thing that's worth noting is that there are a few missions where you can select between multiple characters, so there's something for everyone, depending on the kind of style that you like. Dante is still Dante from a mechanic standpoint, outside of the Sid Devil Trigger and some neat stuff associated with that. I want to focus more so on Nero and V because, for the most part, Dante is still using mechanics he's been using since Devil May Cry 3 and 4. Specifically, you have the 4 main styles of Trickster, Gunslinger, Swordmaster, and Royal Guard with the ability to swap between them. And while that's fine, and I do like the approach of just yeeting the kitchen sink and everything inside of it to see what sticks, I just kinda got bored of that, and I wanted to see some other stuff. V's probably the most interesting of the 3 because he doesn't do any direct fighting himself. Due to being pretty physically weak on his own, he relies on a trio of demons to do the fighting for him. Specifically, the Griffin, Shadow, and Nightmare demons from Devil May Cry 1. Griffin's your range attack that yeets lightning at enemies. Shadow is your melee attacker who hits fast, moves hard, and is your primary source of damage. And Nightmare is basically V's Devil Trigger, an AI partner that shows up, wrecks shit, and leaves. On paper, this sounds like a lot, and it is. In practice, it flows beautifully. It's a ballet of swapping between demons and ultimately dealing the killing blow yourself. V's gameplay is probably the closest we'll ever get to a real-time Pokemon combat system, and if Capcom wanted to just give Nintendo the ideas for it, I would not be opposed to it. And then there's Nero, my boy, my legit favorite character in Devil May Cry. They did him so good! The reason I temporarily went feral there for a quick second is because in Devil May Cry 4, he was less a character and more a proof of concept that Capcom could actually make characters in Devil May Cry that weren't based on a simplified version of one of Dante's styles. I'm sorry, I love Virgil, but if you didn't notice that his Darkslayer style was just Trickster but blue and less good, that's on you. Nero had his sword that could be revved up like a motorcycle, his revolver, his double bringer that can let him grapple enemies, and that was it. The loss of the Doublebringer actually freed Capcom up to give Nero a bunch of neat new abilities in the form of Devil Breakers. These new Destructible pieces of equipment can radically alter your approach to combat depending on what your setup looks like. Do you carry different types to cover all of your bases, or do you go all in on one type for a specific style of play? There's 8 in total, and they let you do some wild shit. Stopping time, permanent charge on weapons, armor-breaking drills, AoE whip attacks, stun gun and overdrives, concussive blast that double as an air dodge, and a literal fucking rocket punch are at your fingertips, and they flesh out Nero so much. The amount of freedom this gives you to plan missions ahead of time and cater to your own strengths and weaknesses is something I wasn't expecting from DMC5 when I first played it, but I love that it just let me do that. It is the fucking best. I feel like there's something I'm missing in all of this, and I can't put my finger on it. Oh wait, now I remember. You can play as Virgil. Yes sir, once again you can play as Virgil, Dante's comically serious twin brother, and he's had some changes. First and foremost, the concentration gauge. It's a blue meter that fills up when you stand still, walk slowly towards the enemies while locked onto them, or land successful attacks on them. This alters the properties of his moveset significantly and pushes him even further into a difficult but awesome territory, as one simple screw-up is enough to completely screw you over. Virgil still has access to Yamato and Beowulf as he does in 3, but with the addition of the Spectral Edge. Introduced in the special edition of Devil May Cry 4, because of narrative reasons, mainly due to it being the father sword that Dante uses from time to time, Virgil loses access to Force Edge. His solution? Make a 7-sword version of it and carry on like normal. And the other big change he has is in the form of a doppelganger instead of his normal double trigger, on top of having his own version of the Sin double trigger that Dante has. Which tracks now that I think about it, because of course Virgil would only transform when it's guaranteed to be the most powerful possible. All these varying playstyles, and Dante too, I guess, come together to create quite possibly the most extensive catalog of playstyles in a character action game I've ever seen, and for my money, the standard by which all future character action games are judged. Is that hyperbole? Most likely. Do I care? Probably not. That's just how I feel, and I hope this video did a good job of illustrating why I like Devil May Cry 5 so much. Jesus Christ, this game is so good. I'm gonna go play more of it when I'm done getting this video out. Alright? Okay. And that's it for this month's video. Thank you very much for watching. If you aren't subbed yet, please subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. If you really liked it, don't forget to share it, and leave a comment telling me how good I am at this, because I feel like I'm getting pretty fucking good at it. I really shouldn't swear, but it's my channel. I can do whatever I want. Okay, bye. Roll the beef footage.